Exactly. Socrates taught Plato. Plato taught Aristotle. Who did Aristotle teach? Alexander the Great. Fantastic. So you see the little chain of events there. You know, Socrates, major philosophical shifts with Aristotle. Aristotle and Plato represent two major factions, so to speak, in philosophy. They both were great philosophers, and they both had very different belief systems. Aristotle once said, Plato is dear to me, but dearer still is the truth. Alright, so he had great respect for his mentor, but there was a breaking point in their philosophical beliefs. Now, Aristotle went on to do a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to talk about him later more. Right now, I just want to finish up with the epistemology, and that'll conclude this section. That's all that really can be tested on at this point. I want you to understand this doctrine of the forms as Plato lays it out, and try to grasp what he's saying, because it's difficult and it's been interpreted in different ways. Some people understand it differently. So I do my best to give you the way I understand it, and hopefully you can grasp what I'm saying. With Plato, he believed there was a realm of existence that was superior, that was the ultimate reality, so to speak. It was superior to what we might call the physical universe. All right, he's not using those terms, but that's what he's getting at. And we talked last time that you can imagine, you can have an idea of something that could be, in a sense, more perfect than an actual item, such as the chairs you're sitting in. We all know that if we looked under a microscope, they would have imperfections, so to speak. They'd be little pits and stuff in the grain of the wood, or in that case, it's got plastic. There's going to be little imperfections if we looked at it. Nothing is, quote, perfect in a sense that way. If you look at any straight line, if you drew a straight line with a pencil, it looks straight with the naked eye, but as you look at it microscopically, it's not really straight, is it? See what I'm saying? This is just an example. I'm giving you a tangible example, something you can kind of hold on to try to differentiate between Plato's idea of the forms and his reality as we see it. He's saying you can imagine a straight line that really is truly straight. I'm using some terms to try to bring this to light. It's not his words; these are my words. But basically, that's what he's getting at. You have an idea. So, in other words, the realm of ideas, this sort of realm of ideas, is more perfect in one sense than physical reality. All right. So that desk that you're sitting in is a good copy, perhaps, of the perfect desk, wherever that might be. But it is yet an inferior copy to that perfect idea. So that's kind of what he's getting at. That there is a realm of existence in which, there is a perfect whatever, name it, chair, car, whatever. I'm just throwing things out there. And knowing these forms, as he would call them, knowing them is a way that you gain understanding, a way that you're, if you want to use the term enlightened, it's how you come to know reality in a better way. Now, all this sounds kind of strange. We're talking about desks and stuff like that. I got that, because that's sort of weird. But when you start talking about something like justice, he proves in one of his writings that that's really difficult to define in physical terms. When you start trying to lay down what justice looks like, we'll find very quickly that your idea of justice and my idea of justice aren't exactly alike. And yet we all agree we have this concept of justice. When I served overseas in Iraq, I worked with, I didn't work directly, I befriended some people that were Iraqi army guys. They were more like their National Guard, basically. They were active. And we shared on an installation, and they were kind of in the barracks right behind me. They had a place to stay, and I just kind of made friends with them. I mean, most of the guys didn't hang out with them, but I like to meet people from other cultures and stuff and get to know them. And I got to know these guys pretty well. They were kind of like sort of like a SWAT team, or basically did raids and things like that. And they were nice guys. They were nice guys, but on a personal level. But their idea of justice and the typical American's idea of justice would probably have been a little different. For example, if the Americans raid your house over in Iraq, things might go well for you as long as you don't pick a weapon up. Right? You'll probably be okay. Come in, smack you around, beat you up. Iraqi army, they might. Okay, their idea of justice is a little bit different. All right, their idea is you're standing between me and information that's more important than you are. Things of this nature. That might be the way they would probably think about that. So when that waterboarding, everybody remember that issue of waterboarding with the interrogation stuff came up in our country? Everybody remember that? Vaguely, whether they should use this method, sort of a torture kind of method, quasi-torture, although it's not really physically harming, it's more of a mental thing. Should they do that in their interrogation to break people down? It's like they get the sense of like drowning or something like that. Isn't that what that works? It's like a illusionary, but you get that feeling like you're drowning, and it becomes traumatic at that point. It becomes. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. That's a good question. They just talk about this waterboarding and making people feel like you're drowning. I don't know how they go about it. I don't know what the process is, but it became.
Lay you down.
What's that?
They lay you like this with your head down.
Yeah.
And they put a rag over your face.
Okay.
Pour water over you constantly.
And pour water over you.
Over your head.
Okay.
It feels like you're drowning.
And it feels like it makes the sensation that you're drowning. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us. I didn't know what the method was. I just knew that they do something that makes you feel like you're drowning. And of course, we don't use torture. That's not appropriate. We don't do that. Even to people that might fly a plane into a skyscraper in our country, we're not going to do that. That's just not how we do business. And so I think they ended up outlawing it. I think they did ban it, didn't they? Do you remember? I can't remember what the outcome of it was. I think they did ban it.
Officially
or hey, I'm not going to go there. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm not privy to this, upper information. But anyway, it's back to that sense of justice. Some people would say, well, heck yeah, if they think they're a terrorist, well, back to the guilty till proven innocent. And even that fails at some points. Wait a minute, I'm innocent till proven guilty. Why am I sitting in jail? This is a question to ask, right? We have these kind of ironies in our system. And depending what kind of crime it is, how innocent you're going to be treated.
They're passing laws right now to where they are able to arrest you before you do the crime if you have the intent to do the crime.
Okay, if you have the intent to do a crime.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that one. That's very interesting. It reminds me of what is that Tom Cruise movie?
Minority Report.
Minority Report. Thank you. Yeah, if you haven't seen Minority Report, that's another one that I might try to incorporate in class one of these days. We might do that this semester. We'll see. That's a good one because it really gets you thinking about, do you, arrest people before they, we certainly take motive into but I digress. We're not getting into, law and stuff like that. That comes later on in ethics. But basically, Plato's idea is that which is real is really a mental reality. That is more real than things that you see. Now, if you thought in terms of, it might make a little more sense if you thought in terms of that mental reality exists separate from your mind. You got to understand that it's separate from your mind. Okay, it's not just you and your idea. There's a realm of kind of ideas. All right, and that might help to understand so that would be less. It wouldn't be corrosive. It wouldn't decay. It wouldn't. Whereas the things that you see, inevitably things rust, things decay, so on and so forth. But that's kind of Plato's idea. Now, Aristotle,
is it like the outside world is imperfect because it can always be expounded upon in your mind?